Hey, this is Dr. Ty from Premier Orthodontics, and in this video we're going to be talking about what is wrong with Tom Cruise's teeth. So Tom Cruise has some famously interesting teeth. If you search online on Google for Tom Cruise teeth, you'll see lots of images like this where they draw a line down the center of his face and they'll show that his upper midline is off by about a half a tooth. So a lot of people have speculated what is actually going on here. Why is his midline so off? Some people are wondering if he's got an extra tooth, missing teeth, what's going on. So today we're going to talk about why his midline is off and what exactly is going on with his teeth. So this is one of his early pictures. He was in The Outsiders. In this film, he had some pretty interesting teeth. As you can see, his front tooth is actually very chipped. So apparently he had a hockey accident where he got hit in the mouth and chipped his tooth. And he'd had it repaired, but for this film, he actually had that filling removed just so he could better play his role in The Outsiders. So he took one for the team and made his teeth actually even a little bit worse just for the purpose of this film. So early on you can see he had some pretty misaligned teeth, and between this movie and when we later saw him sometime in his teenage years, he obviously had some braces. You can see here he is, later in life in his career. So things have gotten straighter. They're looking a little bit better. You can see he got that tooth chip repair as well. So obviously he had braces, but if you look closely, that midline is still definitely to the left. So let's dive in and see why that midline is so far to the left and what's going on. So if we count the teeth that the average person has, we have 7 teeth per side. So we have a central incisor, a lateral, a canine, first and second premolar, then your first and second molar. So that is the normal number of teeth. Most people would have a wisdom tooth as well. If you haven't had those removed, that would be number 8. But in general, you have 7 teeth per side. So now let's count the teeth on Mr. Tom Cruise. We have our central incisors, we have a lateral incisor, we have the canine, we have the first premolar, but on that left side, he is actually missing his second premolar. And you can see there, he's got the first molars after that. So he is definitely missing the second premolar on the left side. So that is something that does happen. It is something that people are just born without. Sometimes they're missing teeth in the front, sometimes in the back. And so there are different ways to fix that and accommodate for that. So in his case, he is missing a tooth on that left side. And so if we looked at his teeth, you can see this is the tooth that he's missing there, his second premolar. And so because he didn't have that tooth, when that baby tooth fell out, what ended up happening is all the teeth kind of shifted in towards that space. So I always like to say that if you take a tooth out, it's kind of like taking a book off a shelf and everything collapses into that space. And so that's exactly what happened. Is the teeth rotated, everything shifted to the left side. Those front teeth shifted to the left as well as the back teeth probably shifted forward. And we ended up with that midline being off towards the left where he's missing that second premolar. So there we go. You can see that's where he's missing the tooth. Midline's definitely shifted that direction. And when he had braces originally, obviously they aligned his teeth, but they didn't try to treat that specific area. They didn't try to get his midline on and get that lined up with his face. So now the question is, how could he fix the missing tooth? So if he theoretically wanted to correct his midline, how would we go about doing that? With braces, we have a tool called an open coil spring. So sometimes we'll use this to open space if we need to have room to get teeth to come in. And this is what it looks like. And it's basically a compressed spring that goes in between braces. And we can shift and move teeth. We can open space to make room for teeth to come in. So this animation here is one use case where we might use an open coil spring to open space for a teeth that doesn't have a room to grow in. We can also use this same open coil spring to open space for a tooth that is missing or to move a midline around. So in Tom Cruise's case, if he's missing that second premolar on that left side, what I would have recommended was putting this open coil spring in that space where he's missing the tooth, and that open coil spring will gradually push over several months. It's going to push the front teeth forward, the back teeth back, and open a space for that tooth. So now that we have this tooth size space in the arch, what would we do with that? Normally what you do in that scenario is place an implant, a dental implant, into that spot to replace the missing tooth. And going this route, you would end up with getting that midline on, you'd have the right number of teeth, and everything would be more lined up to the center of his face. So looking closely at Tom Cruise, you can see his midline is definitely off. He did not elect to go with this route. One of the reasons probably is this does take quite a bit of time. It usually ends up being 1.5 to 2 years of braces. He was obviously very busy with his career, and he may not have wanted to invest the time and effort needed to open that space, spend that amount of time in braces while trying to work on his films and his career, just to get that midline on. It obviously was not that important to him, and he seems to have done fine, despite that. So again, if we wanted to though, theoretically, I would have put that open coil spring right there, and then we'd try to get that midline pushed from here over to the right side and get it onto the center of his face. And that would have been the ideal scenario if we were going that route. And then later on, placing that implant. So Tom Cruise actually had braces as an adult. At the Minority Report film, he showed up to the premiere with braces on. You can see, even though he had braces on, he didn't choose to do that midline shifting at that time. He was just going for more alignment. If you look closely at his lower teeth, you can see that they're fairly misaligned as well. He probably could have benefited from lower braces. But again, investing time and effort into something, that may or may not make a huge difference in his career, he chose just to get the top ones better aligned. And you can see here, the picture on the left, this was before he got the adult orthodontics. You can see all the teeth kind of shifted up towards that missing space. He got some braces and everything got better aligned, got more level. The midline is still off, but he did definitely get some alignment from doing that adult orthodontic treatment. So again, he didn't fix his midline. You can see clearly that the midline is still off. But all things considered, Tom Cruise has done pretty well in life. He's doing great in his career. Most people who's not an orthodontist may not notice that that midline is off. Once you see it, you usually can't unsee it, but that's fine too. So again, that is what's going on with Tom Cruise teeth. But missing teeth is something that happens in a lot of people. It's fairly common. About 3% of the population has a missing tooth. And treating this early on when you're young is usually ideal. You could open that space, make room for things before life gets in the way, before careers kind of get in the way of not wanting braces for years and years as an adult. So if you or your child has a missing tooth, definitely see an orthodontist. There are options for getting that fixed, for getting things symmetric. So if you have any questions about missing teeth, about Tom Cruise teeth, feel free to ask them in the comment section below. If you found this video helpful, give this video a like. Also subscribe to the channel if you haven't yet. Thank you so much, and we'll talk to you soon.